Good evening, Don't Unfriend Me fans. This is Matthew Spear. I am the host of Don't Unfriend Me. Good to have you here tonight. I want to say thank you to all the new listeners from the live show. It was incredible. We had over 1,000 people over Monday and Tuesday get involved and watch the show live, which is pretty incredible considering that we usually average 100 to 150. It just depends on what's being discussed. So obviously January 6th is a big topic, and it makes sense. It's a pretty big thing that they've put around Republicans' necks, and we've been hung with it for quite a while. And I think people want to know the truth, and they want to make sure that if we're going to wear this cloak of shame, that it's honorable or it's done with honest intentions. And that's really hard to believe when it comes to liberals. And more of that will be here tonight. Antifa, your Antifa or Antifa, you know who they are. These are the anti-fascists. Supposedly they're the new revolutionaries. They are the new Viva la Resistance, or they are the 1970s hippies putting flowers into rifles. And now they're comparing themselves to the Minutemen, saying that they are patriots first. This couldn't be further from the truth. You may have seen the news. Atlanta had about 40 of these yahoos leave a concert and send Molotov cocktails into a police training facility that was being erected, also sending fireworks and firing them at police officers. These are thugs. They are terrorists, and I have no problem saying it. I'm going to tell you why tonight. I will be right back after this message, and if you would do me a favor, listen to the Hodge twins real quick, and I will be right back.
Yeah. Hodge Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spear at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. As I said, my name is Matthew Spear. Kind of want to grab that hat and just put it on. I know you can get it at thedumbshow.com. We sell cool shirts like this, coffee, and all that other stuff. Tonight we're talking about Antifa. Antifa. I just, the name just drives me crazy. The masked hooligans. Why do they wear masks? Well, I always thought it was to protect their anonymity, their privacy. So when they broke the law, they wouldn't be easy to recognize, or like most criminals, or maybe a nod back to the Ku Klux Klan days of the liberal party known as the Democrats. But no, that's not it. I found out when I saw their mugshots. It looks like a Tucumcari meth clinic in New Mexico. They say birds of a feather, but featherless birds are probably one of the ugliest things in the world. That's all I can think of. Where do these people come from? Do they have a recruiting station that does this? An algorithm that scrolls Facebook's pictures for facial tattoos and rings and unkept hair, and that a photo that has a smell level? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. These people. And I don't mean to pick on people's looks, but I'm sorry, when this is an attention ploy, you're getting all my attention tonight. The anti-fascists in World War II were specifically against Nazis. There is no major Nazi movement in the United States. There's a bunch of chuckleheads who think they're Nazis. But nobody has internment camps. Nobody is gassing the Jewish people. This is ridiculous. There is no genocide or ethnic cleansing going on in the United States. These are a bunch of idiots who are doing it for attention, just like the people who are the anti-fascists are doing it for attention. The Ku Klux Klan has around 3,000 active members, and that's down from the last 40 years of 700,000 who all went to liberal rallies and Democratic rallies in Chicago and other larger cities. But once again, remember, Republicans are the racists. The anti-fascists are a bunch of terrorist thugs, and they need to be classified as such. And if you have one problem with January 6th, and you should, because everyone should denounce what happened on January 6th. I don't care what your philosophy is. I don't even think it was Nancy Pelosi, or you think it was the anti-fascist, or you think it was the Oath Keeper, the FBI. I don't care. Every American should say, we don't want it. We don't want to be known for that. We don't want to be a part of that. Because why? Because you gave it to the Democrats to hang that around our neck. The moment we defended it this much, one modicum, one iota, they can then now call all of us insurrectionists, which is ridiculous. The Democrats have been doing this with BLM since 2012 and burning down cities when they disagree. Occupy Wall Street left enough trash to go ahead and fill up Long Island. You can talk about this going all the way back to the Klan. You can go back to civil rights. You can go to Jim Crow laws, Japanese internment camps. The Democratic Party's history is not fantastic. No wonder why they always try to run from it and wear masks. This group is none the different. They are exactly the same. Here's the video. I want to show it to you real quick before we get started so you can kind of understand what happened in Atlanta, and I'll walk you through it.
Flames were seen rising from the construction site of what will soon be Atlanta's new public safety training center after some protesters who police say had just left a nearby music festival threw explosives and Molotov cocktails at police officers.
Do any of these people have jobs? It's like, listen, let's go. I got an idea. Let's go to the Def Leppard concert. Let's go have a few pops. Let's buy a overpriced $40 t-shirt, which will basically shrink three sizes too small the first time we wash it. And then let's go burn down some police stations that we asked for and some training facilities when George Floyd was murdered and we asked for more police training, and then go burn it down. Why? Because it's in the middle of the forest, and deforestation is the worst thing on the planet, supposedly. Have you ever been to Georgia? There's nothing but trees and peaches. That's it. Trees and peaches in Georgia. It would be like taking a few buckets of water out of California oceans and crying about it. Who cares? It's a square acre. But the interesting thing is it is state and federal government and property. And the moment that you, through a Molotov cocktail, damaged that property and attacked police officers with fireworks, that became, in your definition, liberals, an insurrection. You ignored it with BLM when they went ahead and torched police buildings and federal buildings and attacked the cities across the United States for political reasons. And you didn't say that was an insurrection. But this one isn't an insurrection. Storming the anteroom chambers of the SCOTUS nominees of Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, that's not an insurrection. Saying that the worst attack on the Capitol was January 6th, but you completely left out the Weather Underground, which were Democrats that absolutely attacked with pipe bombs the capital city. You left that out. It's amazing how liberals completely select what their outrage is based upon who they support and who they don't. These people are masked hooligans. They should be treated as such.
And set equipment on fire.
During that attack on the officers, pieces of equipment and other items that were at the location for the construction of the Public Safety Training Center were damaged.
The demonstrators scattering as police arrived. Officers seen running after them in the woods, using stun guns to stop the protesters. Police arrested more than 24.
When you throw commercial-grade fireworks,
well, there's some of that non-lethal force you guys asked for. I'm sure they really appreciated that stun gun while it was coursing 20,000 volts through their body. Gosh, I'm glad this isn't a hydroshock round. These officers really are taking their job to heart and listening to us citizens.
when you throw Molotov cocktails, large rocks, a number of items at officers, your only intent is to harm. And the charges are going to show that tonight when we make the appropriate charges.
The training center was approved by Republican and Democrat lawmakers at the state level, and it's been the epicenter of escalating confrontation as demonstrators oppose what they call the militarization of police and the development of the forest the facility will soon be built on. But Atlanta's police chief says what happened was not a legitimate protest.
You're darn right it's not a protest. You didn't file with the government or the local state or municipality. You didn't go ahead and pay for a permit to do this. A protest means you vocalize your opposition to an idea, to an event, to an ideology. You have signs and you beat on a drum. Hell no, we won't go. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. You know, typical liberal stuff. You don't burn stuff down. You don't throw fireworks at cops. They just want to go home, man. They're just punching in and punching out, trying to work their day. Come on.
Many arrested weren't even from Georgia.
This was a very violent attack that occurred this evening. Very violent attack. This wasn't about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
And not only that, it is a terrorist attack. Any way you cut it. They had no right to be there. You had foreign governments involved and people who were not even American citizens. Enough. It's time to take the gloves off. If you're going to stick people from January 6th in a dark, dank hole and put them in solitary confinement, suspend habeas corpus, and keep them under the Domestic Terrorist Act, then these people should be treated the same. No bail, put them in solitary confinement, and they should be singing Swing Low at 5 o'clock every single night, like other groups of people are singing the national anthem every single night. The hypocrisy is ridiculous.
Officers were injured in this incident. This is, though, the latest in a series of clashes with police. In January, a demonstrator was shot to death by a police officer. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
Morgan's good looking. All right, so now that we've established this, and people are like, oh, we'll see, it was perfect, man. Nobody got hurt. That's not the point. The point is liberals are against lawlessness and violence and riots and insurrection unless they do it. If they do it, it's just good politics. If they burn everything down, don't you understand? That's why I'm so frustrated with J6 is because you put ammunition in their Alec Baldwin firearm. You allow them to go ahead and fire it back at us and go, yeah, BLM, $2.5 billion. We get it. But look what you did on January 6th. It's just the exact same thing. And that one instance makes up for everything we've done over history. Don't you see how stupid this is? They are not the Minutemen. The Minutemen were patriots. They were civilian colonists. They independently organized and formed well-prepared militia companies, self-trained in weaponry, tactics, and military strategies from American colonial partisan militias during the American Revolutionary War. They were not an organization who covered their faces, armed themselves, and went into the streets of their own communities, intent on conducting mayhem, damaging property, and injuring fellow Americans with whom they just disagreed. They did not break windows, attack innocent and elderly people, damage the utilities which serve their own communities, overturn and set fire to vehicles, harm police officers, or declare open war on their fellow countrymen. Minutemen didn't force their beliefs on others or attack people simply for enjoyment or because they disagreed. The word fascism comes from the Latin fascio, meaning bundle or political group. In fascism, the people are looked at as a bundle, one body that must be controlled by the government with absolute force. There's no option to vote, no chance to impeach a leader, and no freedom to stand up against the governing body. It's totalitarianism incarnate. The organization who says that they are standing against fascism hasn't faced fascism. It's actually the exact opposite. Members of ANTIFA have all the rights and benefits granted by the U.S. Constitution and the Democratic Party. They are free to assemble, vote. They enjoy free speech, freedom of religion, a speedy trial, attorney representation. They are not controlled with absolute force. And they live in a nation that can and has impeached leaders. Antifa is not anti-fascist, but in fact, they are the definition of fascism. They have corrupted the word from its original meaning and adopted it as their own. It is they who put on masks and arm themselves and behave as rioters in the streets while being protected by the laws of the land that they so hate. One of these days, you're going to have to grow up. You're going to realize, maybe 28, 30 years old, you might meet a boy or a girl being a boy or a boy being a girl. And if you're a girl, you're going to want to have a boy husband with a baby. It's so confusing. I don't know how to talk to these people. You might have two of these, or you might have two of these, or you might have one of these and one of these. And if you do have any of that, you may want to marry someday. You may want to start a family. And these things that you're doing will haunt you for the rest of your life. One felony can change your life. Protest, argue, get upset, get frustrated, do the things that you are absolutely supposed to do as a citizen and an ardent patriot of this country. Whether you love this country or hate this country, it's for you. And it's designed for you to do that. Dissension is the root of getting to most problems. Some of the best conversations I've ever had start in an argument, and that's okay. But the moment that you decide that your rights are more important than somebody else's right to go home, you have created a problem. This will escalate. This will go to the next level. There will come a point where officers will not stand feces being thrown at them, fireworks blowing off their fingers or causing permanent hearing or eye loss. One of these days, you're going to realize you're picking a fight with a firework and some ice and some bricks with people who have firearms. And one of these days, they're going to get the right to use it. Stop making decisions that are going to hurt you and others simply because you disagree. Try a conversation. If you can't have a conversation, perhaps it's because you don't know enough yet. And that's okay, because we've all been children at one point in our life. The difference is we didn't sit up and try to hurt people, harm people, and kill people simply because we were too ignorant to know better. Folks, that's it for the Don't Unfriend Me show. Thank you for watching. Please do me a favor, share, like, and subscribe like I asked you earlier. That would mean a great deal. Go and buy a shirt and a hat over at thedumbshow.com. But either way, we will go out like we always do with the Veteran Crisis Hotline. Join us tonight at 8 o'clock. We will also be back with a recorded show on Thursday and Friday. You can stop by and see it then. Please share this number with a veteran who's in need. And God bless. Take care of each other. And I'll see you tonight and or tomorrow.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call